Early retirement sounds ideal, but the biggest problems usually don't show up right away. They usually show up years later, when early decisions quietly limit flexibility. But here's something that often surprises people a few years into retirement. The biggest regrets early retirees talk about aren't about retiring early itself. They're about how the transition was handled, financially and emotionally, in the years right around that decision to retire. Because when you retire early, every assumption matters even more. Your money has to last longer. Your portfolio has less room for error. Your income decisions stretch decades into the future. And what's interesting is this. When early retirees look back, they rarely say, I should have worked longer because the market didn't cooperate. No, what they usually say is, I didn't realize how different retirement would feel. I didn't expect certain decisions to limit my options later on. I've even heard, I didn't realize how much weight those early years would carry. That's why today I want to walk you through the top 3 regrets early retirees consistently share and what not to do so early retirement actually supports the life you want over the long term. Hi, I'm Alan McBroom, president of McBroom Financial Services. On this channel, we focus on helping retirees and pre-retirees make thoughtful, structured decisions around income, taxes, and long-term planning. We do that so retirement feels to retirees intentional and not uncertain. If you find this helpful, feel free to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who's seriously considering retiring early, or even if you just want to make sure and get a checkup to see that you're optimized in that decision. In this video, we're going to walk through 3 of the most common regrets early retirees experience, and more importantly, how to approach early retirement in a way that protects flexibility, confidence, and peace of mind over time. Regret number 1 that is consistently shared with us is underestimating how long retirement really is. The first and most common regret, and the most foundational, is that many early retirees underestimate how long retirement might actually last. Retiring at 55 doesn't mean planning for 20 years. It often means planning for 30 years or more. That extra decade changes the math in meaningful ways. It affects how much growth your portfolio needs, how sensitive your plan is to inflation, how much margin you have for unexpected expenses, and how damaging early market downturns can be. Notice on previous podcasts the sequence of returns. What I often hear from early retirees years later is this: I plan to retire early, but I fully didn't plan to stay retired. The issue usually isn't that the plan was reckless, it's that the plan wasn't built for durability. When retirement stretches longer, small miscalculations compound. Withdrawals last longer, healthcare costs can have more time to rise, lifestyle inflation becomes harder to reverse, and early market volatility matters more. Early retirees often discover the plan looked fine on paper until real life extended the timeline. So what do we do instead to avoid that regret? When planning for early retirement, shift the mindset from feasibility to resilience. Don't just ask, can I retire early? Also ask, how does this plan hold up if I live longer than expected? What happens if returns are uneven early on? And where does flexibility come from if assumptions change? A strong early retirement plan isn't built on optimism, hopeism, or anything else. It's built on adaptability. Regret number 2 that I often hear from early retirees is losing structure after leaving work. Now that surprised me hearing that, and it surprises many people because it isn't purely financial. You see, work provides more than just income, right? It provides structure for our lives. When people retire early, especially after a long career, they often underestimate how much structure disappears overnight. Remember, in retirement, every day is a weekend day. There's no fixed schedule. There's no external accountability. All of a sudden, there's no milestones. There's no natural rhythm for spending or saving. At first, this feels freeing. It feels wonderful. People haven't had that before. But over time, many early retirees realize that too much freedom without structure can quietly create drift, financially and personally. From a financial perspective, this often shows up as inconsistent inconsistent spending or unclear withdrawal habits. It also shows up as reactive investment decisions instead of well thought out investment decisions. And ultimately, difficulty knowing whether they're on track for sure. You see, without structure, decisions tend to be made in isolation instead of within a framework. That's when confidence starts to fade. So what do we do instead to avoid that regret down the road? What we do is we replace work structure with planning structure. That means a clear income framework. It means defined spending guardrails. It means regular check-ins with your plan and advisors. And it also means intentional goals for how time and money are used. Structure doesn't limit freedom. Instead, it protects freedom. The goal of early retirement isn't just freedom from work, it's freedom with clarity. So our third and final regret early retirees consistently share is this: locking in irreversible decisions too early. The third regret that I often hear from early retirees often shows up several years into retirement once perspective settles in. Many early retirees make permanent decisions very quickly, such as selling a primary residence and relocating immediately. It shows up as restructuring investments permanently, right away, right after retirement, or making large gifting or estate decisions early on. At the time, those choices feel logical. They make you feel more prepared. But what retirees often realize later is this: the person you are in year one of early retirement is not the same person you are in year 5, 10, or 20. Priorities change. Spending patterns evolve. Healthcare decisions shift. Lifestyle preferences adjust. And if those irreversible decisions are made too early, flexibility disappears just when it's most valuable. Many early retirees eventually say, I wish I had given myself more time before locking that permanent decision in. So what do we do instead to avoid that third regret? What we do is sequence decisions intentionally. We treat the early years of retirement as a transition phase, not a final destination. So whenever possible, if you're going to move, test locations before committing to it. Delay permanent portfolio decisions. You don't usually have to make rash decisions right away. Preserve optionality. Let real retirement experience guide your long-term decisions. You see, flexibility early on often matters more than optimization. So why do these regrets keep showing up? We've discovered the top 3 regrets. Why do they keep showing up? You see, they don't come from poor discipline most of the time or even lack of intelligence. They come from underestimating how different early retirement really is. Early retirement compresses risk, it magnifies mistakes, and it reduces recovery time. That's why planning needs to change, not just timing. A traditional retirement mindset doesn't always translate well into early retirement. Reframing early retirement the right way is how we work around this. Early retirement works best when it's treated as a process, not a finish line. This means planning for longevity, not just freedom. It also means replacing work structure with financial structure and planning. It also means, third, that sequencing decisions is much better than rushing into them. When those elements are in place, early retirement becomes more than just an exit. It becomes a sustainable lifestyle, one to be enjoyed for the rest of your life because you have a plan. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this: early retirement usually falls apart or struggles when decisions are made too quickly, without structure, and without a long-term lens. The regrets we talked about today, underestimating how long retirement lasts, losing structure after leaving work, and locking in permanent decisions too early, those all come back to the same idea. Flexibility matters more than perfection. When your plan preserves options, it gives you room to adapt. When it's built with structure, it helps you make decisions calmly instead of reactively. And then when it's designed to last, it supports confidence even when life doesn't unfold exactly as you expected or planned. Early retirement should feel like freedom, not pressure, and the right planning approach can make that difference. If you're thinking about early retirement, or if you already retired early and just want to make sure that your plan truly supports the next 30 years or more, it's worth slowing down and looking at the full picture. That includes several aspects. Number one, how your income is structured. So very important. Number two, how taxes may change over time. We're in some of the lowest tax rates historically right now. Number three, how your portfolio supports both today and the future instead of just one or the other. And where flexibility exists if life takes an unexpected turn. Those four things are so important. If you want clarity around these questions, you can schedule a conversation with me using the link below. We'll walk through where you are currently, what matters most to you, and whether your current plan is built to support early retirement with confidence, not just on paper, but in real life. We'll look at the pitfalls. We'll look at all the aspects. And if you found this helpful, as always, feel free to subscribe for more retirement guidance. Go see my other podcasts and share this with someone you care about. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Take care.